So happy Pride again.
Happy Pride all month long.
I see you have your crown on again.
It was a don't want to fix my hair kind of day. It rained here, and I didn't fix my hair this morning because what's the point? And I didn't want to wear just a hat, so I thought crown it.
Is it heavy?
No,
No.
not at all. It comes in many colors, so I've got to wait a little bit so I can purchase more. I feel like it suits me. I must have been like a queen in a past life.
Get one for every month of the year.
I love it. Love it.
All right. Well, hi everybody, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and as always, I'm joined by Her Highness Aaron Wallace.
That's me. And what's funny is I was thinking that.
You're like, I'm so royal.
Oh,
Tonight we are having a discussion about the character of Billy Douglas that aired on One Life to Live in 1992. And he was daytime's first gay teen. I was going to say youth, but teen, same thing. And although we haven't seen the entire story, we did find clips on playlists on YouTube, and I've done a little bit of research. So let's roll the credits and we'll talk about what we saw.
first off, that Marty.
Oh, I have things to say about Marty. But before we get So before we get into it, I just want to shout out a friend of ours. You could check out their YouTube channel at Rad Rock Productions. They did a video tribute to the character of Billy Douglas that came out today. And we were talking, and we realized that we were both going to be talking about Billy on the same day. So we decided to do a little cross-pollination, as the queer magnolias like to say. So
the gay universe collided.
So check out their tribute to Billy Douglas on Rad Rock Productions on YouTube. And you can find them on Twitter at rad_Rockefeller. And if you're still having trouble finding the video, just go to our Twitter and we've retweeted it.
That's what I was going to say.
Don't interrupt.
It's like you're reading my mind. It's like, let me speak, Thomas. No, just kidding.
And I had a little cameo in the video, so good for me.
I've got to finish watching it. I started it, and then I realized what time it was. It's like, oh, I got a show to do.
My what is it? I don't know. I was going to say my people are calling, or my fans are calling.
The fans, all 5 of them. No, I'm just kidding.
So I guess before we actually talk about the story, we should kind of give a little context of 1992. So
what a bad time to be gay.
Yes, but still not the worst.
Yeah.
So we're kind of having an 80s hangover still. I like to say that about the hair and the fashion, an 80s hangover. But so the 80s, especially the mid to late 80s, was gay panic and AIDS panic, because people automatically thought you're gay, you have AIDS. And there was this fear that you were going to give it to them because they didn't know how you contracted it. So it was very much known in mainstream media as the gay man's disease. And I think some of that started to flood over into the 90s, but probably around this time, we were starting to become a little bit more educated and actually talk about it more in schools so that people could be less afraid and more educated on how the virus worked, how you get it, how you can't get it, blah, blah, blah.
I can tell you those conversations were not happening in the South.
Really?
I didn't know what AIDS was until, late.
Did you ever see the episode of 90210 where a speaker came to the school and she just dropped. They didn't know what it was. They thought it was a sex education like assembly, and she dropped the bombshell that she has AIDS.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Well, there was an episode like that. So when I was
90210 did a lot of episodes like that because I remember Kelly worked at a
she worked at a like a halfway house or like a something like
that's
that.
probably when I first started to learn about AIDS and things like that.
Well, I bring that up to say a speaker came to my school and I was like, oh, I saw this episode of 90210. And that's exactly what happened. I was like, she has AIDS. I'm not trying to make light of it, but that's what it was. The person speaking at the assembly was positive.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's the best way to learn about something is from someone who's actually experienced it.
Yeah, and again, it just telling you like how you can get it, how you can't get it. Just trying to inform America's youth of,
I mean, there's still people. I have a friend who just found out he was HIV positive not long ago, and he said his family still were kind of like didn't want to drink after him, didn't want, just certain things. Like I'm just like
it's so
we need to educate.
Sad. It really is to think that that's still the mindset.
Still goes on.
So that's what was going on in the world. Television-wise, there really wasn't any gay representation. We had Dynasty in primetime, but Stephen wasn't always gay. He still had female relationships here and there. Married a few of them. Had a kid with one of them. And I would say maybe towards the late 80s, early 90s, they would have a gay character, but it would be like that very special episode and we'd never see them again.
Or, I mean, Designing Women had a special AIDS episode, and he wanted their help because planning his funeral.
And then the next episode we saw was his funeral.
It led into like a bigger discussion about safe sex. But still, I mean, if there's a gay episode, it's almost anything when it's gay related in the 80s or 90s. It's like very special. It's a coming out episode, or it's someone got AIDS.
Or they've somehow cured all of the gay person's problems and they'll never have a problem again by the end of the episode. They solved homosexuality.
Who they think they was? Who killed Sarah?
Oh my god. So it should also be noted that this storyline started in June of 1992. So this was a month and a half, because I think it was towards the end of July, before Melrose Place premiered, and we had a main cast member that was actually gay on primetime television.
And while he may not have done anything gay, it was just nice to know there was a gay main character in a primetime show.
I mean, he was basically just a talk to, but he was in the main cast.
Yeah.
But this was the first contract character. Billy Douglas, One Life to Live, 1992.
I don't blame the writers or the creators or anything like that. I blame the networks because they're the ones that were just like, no, we can't do this. We can't show. Because clearly those writers that were trying to go there and wanted to go there, but they're just like, no.
Yeah. So a little backstory, because while this is Billy Douglas's story, there's layers to it. So there is a reverend in town named Andrew Carpenter. And his father has returned to town to kind of repair his relationship with his son because they didn't really have the greatest relationship. Because he has Hodgkin's. Yeah, he has Hodgkin's.
Okay.
Turns out the Reverend Andrew had a brother who died from AIDS. And the father does not want to accept that. He says that he died from pneumonia. And we all know complications from pneumonia usually means AIDS.
But I mean, back then,
did. And he doesn't want to hear that when Andrew, for all intents and purposes, throws that in his face.
I will say the clips I watched Not really. I mean, Ryan did a really great job
Yeah.
in that role. I don't know why his character was only there a year
Hmm.
because he looked like
Well,
he would have become one of the. I mean, he stole this. I mean, I love him in Cruel Intentions. That was probably my first introduction to Ryan. I have trouble with his last name.
Philippi.
Philippe? Philippi?
Hmm.
I Know What You Did Last Summer and Cruel Intentions. Woo! I was a fan.
I feel like it should also be noted that it's interesting that not necessarily religion was a huge layer of this story, but the fact that there was a reverend who was accepting because he had a brother that was gay, because that's something that gets thrown around a lot. That you're going to hell, that it's a
Mm-hmm.
sin, and it's used as guilt to kind of keep you in the closet and stop you from sinning and being.
And it works.
Yeah, it for some people it didn't work for me, but
Mm. The other person on the screen, some of that Christian guilt probably worked.
on the other side of the screen.
I was terrified. Like,
um,
I don't know, I just remember, like, I used to love going to church, but as I grew up, I guess people thought they knew who I was before I knew who I was, so I was treated a little differently. And that's one of the reasons I stopped going. I didn't feel
yeah,
welcome.
yeah. So the character of Billy um, is befriended by Joey Buchanan,
Hmm. Isn't
who,
that who Nathan Fillion
yes,
played him? Okay. That I was thinking, like, and the guy from Teen Witch plays Kevin, Kelly Kapowski's like boyfriend. Oh wait, no, he wasn't on that one. You
I
know
have
who
to
I'm
look.
talking about?
No, I have to relook at it.
Okay.
I didn't really catch that.
I think he was Kevin. So I was like trying to picture the characters I knew as these characters.
Okay, have you seen the actor that plays Joey Buchanan now? He's hot.
No, I haven't.
He is so sexy. He was. Candace said he was on Saved by the Bell.
I thought so. Thanks, Candace.
um,
Hey, girl, hey.
yeah, he's hot. He was on Young and the Restless like 5 years ago for like a year. Hot, and he was also on Bold and the Beautiful for like an episode playing a therapist. Hot.
Okay. Okay. All
Matt's here, and he said hashtag Mandus.
Oh, so
um, so I don't know if you saw these scenes because I think I have two playlists, but Joey is asking a group of guys what they would do if a friend of theirs told them that he was gay.
I did see that, and like the first response is to, of course, act all like feminine, like
Mhm. And one of them says, I tell him to come here and I'd straighten him out. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I noticed that while they were all like joking around, the word fag got thrown around a lot. And
uh,
it's very
yeah.
it's very interesting the way that when I see that happening, it still evokes like this like visceral like reaction out of me. I'm just like, oh, like I don't expect it, and I kind
I
of feel
was
like that's
shocked.
how. Maybe, go ahead.
I was just shocked that they were throwing that word around on daytime.
Yeah, I was too, and I'm not really sure that they would do it these days because it's not PC. But I just feel like it was necessary to tell an authentic story.
They also threw around queer a few times, which
See,
it was
and that doesn't
interesting.
bother me, but the generation before us probably has the same
Yeah,
reaction that I'm having to fag.
when I heard him say queer, I was like, oh, like I guess because we have said queer so much now, and we've
Mhm.
embraced it so well that I'm just like, what you say it like it's a bad thing.
We've reclaimed it as a
We
community. We
have.
reclaimed it. People identify as queer. We reclaimed it. I don't think that fag is a word that we could ever claim or reclaim. It's just it has a negative. It's always had a negative connotation with it, and it's
Todrick Hall
used.
has Todrick Hall has a song
I
called
like that song, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I do too, and I think it's because like I know that song would probably make straight people, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
People who are like, I'm just like, oh, this song. Yeah. But I also like to play the Willem song, the Chick-fil-A song that they did a parody of.
Oh.
I love that. I have weird
um,
taste.
so Joey asked this question to his friends before Billy even tells him that he's gay. Again, I watched these scenes out of order, so I kind of had to piece things together.
I did too, and I was like, oh, I'm getting confused. I was like, well, it'll be fine.
Something I learned from the Rad Rock Productions video today was that they originally wanted Joey Buchanan to be the gay character, but they weren't sure how audiences would feel long term about Vicky
Could you
having a
imagine?
gay son. Yeah.
Could you imagine how people would, or who knows? Maybe it would have been. Maybe that could have been a turning point had they went there.
Which is interesting because the character of
Because
Bobby on General Hospital, Luke's sister, has a gay son. Luke.
well, also when you think
Lucas.
about Robin from General Hospital, like she brought new information about being HIV positive.
Again, around 1993, 1994, we were starting to educate
Mhm.
through media.
Because like she had lost Stone, who died of AIDS. And, I mean, I don't watch the show. I just know these storylines, and just
Mhm.
she lived a. I don't know what happened to her character, but I know she lived a full life.
She's still alive. She died, but
It's
not. She died, but she came back because she didn't die
okay.
from her
See,
HIV.
I can't remember. See, there's so much of that going on. I'm just like, oh well, they died once, they'll probably come back.
Yeah.
Or
um, so another thing that should be noted is the storyline started in June, but he didn't come out till mid to late June. So this storyline played out over the summer when teens were home and could watch it, and I think that was great because gay teenagers needed to see this.
oh, I would have loved to know saw that as have something like that as a gay teenager.
Mm-hmm. To see somebody like you going through that on screen every day
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like you could relate. Again, in the video that came out today, Brian Philby got letters from fans thanking him or coming out to them saying he's the only one that knows their secret.
See, I respect him a lot as an actor because everyone told him, "Don't play gay. You don't want to do this. It'll hurt your career." And he did it anyway. I think he seems very thankful that he did it because he helped people.
And at 17, he was only 17.
Oh,
To be
I
able
didn't
to
realize.
make that, yeah, to be able to make that decision at that age. And I think he was in a religious high school. So to have that
Oh,
heat
wow.
breathing down your neck and still
Yeah,
do it.
and I'm sure
Um,
there was probably that backlash of, "Oh, you're playing a gay character. I bet you're gay."
yeah. But luckily, like it didn't hinder his career. He was still able to get major roles. A lot of people
Well,
prior
and
to 2000s were afraid to play gay.
maybe I'm wrong. It probably didn't hurt him that much because he's not actually gay. Had he been gay, it might have. Because look at Ellen. When Ellen came out on her show, canceled.
Canceled, yeah.
So I mean, who's to know how things would have worked? But
I remember being shocked when Rosie O'Donnell came out,
me
and
too.
looking back, I'm like, how was I shocked?
I
Because
get
she always
shocked.
talked about how much she like had a crush on Tom Cruise. I believed her.
I mean, look at my crush on Crystal Chappelle.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So, since you brought her up, let's talk about Marty Saybrooke.
Dear Lord.
Now, this is a name that I have heard for years on other podcasts and soap things that I read, how she's such a great character. People love her. I've also heard that Todd Manning raped her.
Okay, so I know a little bit of the story, but I went and looked. They cast her. She was supposed to be a short term role.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that took Megan. I can't remember who plays her. Her last name's Tuck, but her character had just died of lupus. So Marty's character was kind of there to show you just because you get lupus, you don't necessarily die. That's what I read out, But they loved her so much as an actress that she stayed on, and she was very like she always stirred the pot and all of creating drama, very Sammy Brady. Um, However, I guess she would be the Sammy Brady before the Sammy Brady. Um, but then as they continued on, they started to change to help make her more like make us
Likeable.
sympathize with. Yeah, like she had a bad family life, and there was this gang rape that involved Todd and some other characters, and like Kevin got it falsely accused or something. Like there was a lot happen,
Oh,
and I know it's been very problematic with what.
really?
Yeah,
I'll have to look into
so,
that.
yeah, because I mean they make Todd out to like be this really character you like, and it just. When you read about Todd Manning's history,
I feel like he's like an EJ Demera-esque, like he's like a villain with a heart. I haven't really watched too
well,
much of him, so.
that wasn't the first time Todd Manning was accused of. That was I think maybe the first time, but he was accused of rape again
Oh,
of Blair.
oh, his wife.
Oh yeah, Candace said Todd was a rapist who lived with his guilt for many years. So
Um. So yeah, so
I
Marty.
like I don't know all the history when it comes to like Days is the soap where I'm like I know what happened. Other
Mhm,
soaps I vaguely know, so don't come for me.
mhm. So Billy confides in the Reverend about his struggle with his sexual
Mm-hmm.
identity, and Marty apparently has been trying to put the moves on the Reverend, and of course, because she's a child and he's also a Reverend, he, lets her down. But she seems like she doesn't take no easily.
Oh, she didn't take no easily. She's
So
very upset about what happened.
she eavesdrops on the conversation where Billy comes out to the Reverend. And I thought it was sweet that the Reverend hugged him and was comforting him. She took this nice moment and she made it something ugly.
Mm-hmm.
She used this, called up Billy's parents, and told them that he was
Well, she didn't tell
gay
him on
or a
the phone.
child molester. No, she met up with them. She called them to meet up with them. Did she say that he was gay or that he was a child molester?
She put it as he was putting the moves on him.
He was trying to seduce. She did say he was trying to seduce Billy.
They
That's
did
what.
it. They didn't say those words like child molester or anything like that.
No.
Just
Um,
but like she was like, no, what? I can't have him. I'm ruining it. Like she wanted to ruin his life.
mm-hmm. And it's
And of
interesting because
course,
there was a scene where she got drunk with Billy, and it almost was kind of fun at first because it was like they were becoming BFFs, like just like
yeah, it was
bonding in
really.
their own misery.
I mean, I don't know how I watched the clips, like you said, out of order. So I don't know how. Like I wish I could have watched them in order because maybe what Marty was doing, I couldn't tell if she was like feeling sorry for Billy or yeah, I couldn't tell what her motive was for.
So in the chat, DC Soap Sanctuary says that They think Marty got jealous and said they had a secret relationship.
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
Yeah. Um, so of course the town, because the parents know about this, they want him, fired, and the town is going nuts over this, demanding he be, fired and throwing rocks at the windows and basically just a mob outside of, I guess, the church. Um, and Billy is inside, like struggling with this because he doesn't want this man's life to be ruined. And he doesn't, he tells his parents first, but he basically has to come out publicly in order to save this man's reputation. Imagine the stress of having to come out to your parents and then having to do it for the whole town. That extra pressure.
Well, I guess it can kind of be the same. Like, I still feel like as queer people, we haven't come to the spot where we don't have to come out anymore. Like, when I apply for a job or I'm interviewing or anything like that, I want to go in there with them knowing who I am, because I don't want to get the job, them find out they're homophobic or transphobic or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like every time I interview or meet someone new, it's like I'm having to come out again. It's not as hard, but it's still.
I kind of do it.
You know.
I get that, but I kind of publicly, I feel like it's not something that I have to flat out say.
I mean, I'm wearing a crown right now, so
it just kind of happens if you start talking to me, or if it just comes out in casual conversation, like, oh yeah, no, I was with my boyfriend, like stuff like that. And I kind of feel like that's how I do it now. I've been at my job for 14 years, so I haven't had to.
Well, see, that's where living in the South, sometimes you still have to be careful what you say because you never know who's around.
Candace said he came out in front of the church. Okay, I thought maybe he told his parents first and then that, because again, the clips weren't in order. So, so there was a scene, I guess, because Joey was still processing, and Billy was his friend, but he didn't know how to take this new information, so he was kind of struggling. And he had these voices in his head. I was like, why are you having these voices? I guess I'm supposed to be his conscience, but like you're going through it.
Yeah, which I guess could be something a lot of queer people deal with sometimes, is when you come out to someone, if they don't accept it, they make it about themselves. Like, what? How could you do this to me? I know in the South there's been a lot of that, to where, like, when I came out, I may have heard like I can't believe you did this to me. What have I done? Like, what if they, it wasn't about me. It was about how my coming out affected them. Which it was the shock at the moment. So
Matt says he looks for opportunities to say "my husband" just because of the decades of him having to hear "my spouse" from heterosexual people.
I still sometimes say my spouse if I don't know. If the person doesn't come off like I think, okay, it's safe. See, I still have this wall up a lot where if I don't think someone's safe, I'm careful with what I say. I hate that, but
yeah,
just right now, I mean,
I guess you kind of have to read the room, I guess.
Yeah. I dream of the day I don't have to do that, but that's one thing I will say. The younger generation, I love how a lot of them are not afraid to be who they are. I mean, they can be straight, but just dressed differently, but they're not afraid to be themselves. That's something I'm having to teach myself, is don't be scared to be who you are.
Candace has an update. She said that Billy came out to his parents first and then was kicked out of his house.
Okay, I saw the clip where he was like packing a suitcase or something and it fell, and his dad was then started packing it, and his mom went, "If anyone should be packing a suitcase, it should be you." And then the clip ended.
I like the live updates in the chat.
We're coming from a true soap historian.
So DC Soap Sanctuary said, I used to hate the idea of having to say partner. So I would say boyfriend, etc. It made me feel like I was in a business transaction. But I've gotten used to now saying that. See, I feel the same way. I don't really like to say partner because I feel like it sounds like we're business partners. But if people refer to Greg as my partner, I just acknowledge that as that, but I say boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't care for the partner thing. I'm just like, we ain't in a business.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, John and I got together at 30. I was 33. So saying boyfriend just kind of felt so, like, this is my boy. Like, it made me feel younger than what I was. So when he proposed, I was like, oh, fiance, yay.
I've had moments.
The same boyfriend, but
I've had moments like that where Greg, I was like, "Do you want me to call you my man friend then instead of my boyfriend?"
You're the man friend. Sounds like Greg's a side piece if you call him that.
So Joey comes around and he apologizes to Billy for how he initially reacted when he first came out to him. What was the girl's name? The nice girl.
Why did you have to ask that? It was the one person that was supportive of him besides Andrew.
Yeah. Marty.
Did you know? Okay, this is just random, but Wardrobe in 92 and 93 dressed Billy Douglas in like so many plaid striped shirts. It's like they said, you know what? We got a deal at the Gap. Let's grab every plaid shirt we could find. And he wore them every day. Because all the clips had,
So Candace brought up something that was in the story that I did see. There was an AIDS quilt that was shot on location outside, while there were protesters and Billy's father demanding that it be taken away. Mm-hmm. And Andrew, the reverend, finally breaks and kind of flips out and tells what the meaning of the quilt is.
I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Do they still do the AIDS quilt?
You know, I don't know the answer to that either. I was thinking about that myself, actually.
Because if they don't, I think they should.
It was something that I thought, I was like, I wonder if this is something that became a tradition that they did every year, even though the character of Billy wasn't on the canvas anymore. You know how shows will kind of like pick things and make them like a tradition? Like GH had the Nurses Ball, which was to raise funds for AIDS awareness.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I wonder if that stuck around for a while or not, the quilt.
Well, I think they should, because that's a good way to remember all those that, you know, a lot of those people died alone because their family weren't accepting. And it just breaks my heart.
So another live update from Candace. The girl was Cassie.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened next?
I know Billy leaves not long after the AIDS quilt, I believe. He goes to Yale.
No, so he was on for pretty much a complete year.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, he gets a boyfriend.
Oh, I saw a few clips of that.
And I think he's preparing to go to college, and that's how they write him out. Because, again, thanks to Red Rockefeller, found out that the writers didn't think that America was ready to see a gay relationship daily, so they wrote him out. It was 19. Well, at that point, it was 93, but still.
Yeah, afraid seeing one gay person is going to turn everyone gay.
Candace said it's all coming back to me. I was only 8. Oh, so Candace, you watched this live? I thought maybe she watched like how we watch things later on.
I picture Candace, even as a baby, holding a remote control, flipping between the channels to catch all the soaps.
I feel like Candace had a VCR in every room because there was like 11 soaps, so there was like one was NBC, one was ABC, and one was CBS.
Mm-hmm. I wish they would have brought Billy back at some point.
They would have had to recast because Ryan.
Oh well, yeah, of course. But
took off.
I think it would have been nice to show,
She said that was her household.
I think it would have just been nice to see what Billy became.
Yeah. Well, damn. I was gonna say they should do that now, but the show's canceled. So I was like, they should.
We're a nostalgia podcast, Tommy. Pretty much everything we talk about has been canceled.
Maybe General Hospital could bring him back.
I mean,
but was there anything else you saw that you want to talk about regarding the storyline?
I thought the way they handled it was pretty spot on for how it was like coming out for a lot of people.
I thought that the reactions were genuine and the bullying was very realistic. Mm-hmm. Again, just watching it and hearing it, I kind of was like, oh, it kind of took me back. I was like, maybe I was bullied more than I thought it was. Because maybe I just kind of blocked it out. Candace said Billy's boyfriend was Rick the waiter and they went to Yale. Yep. I saw that. So yeah, I think it was very ahead of its time.
Yeah,
this month it was 30 years ago. This month.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. I know As the World Turns had a gay character on in the 80s at some point. It didn't last long though. Mm-hmm. And All My Children had a lesbian doctor, I think.
Really?
I'm probably wrong. Candace will correct me. But yeah.
I did hear about As the World Turns, but I thought I read that he was dating somebody, maybe Barbara Ryan. I could be just making that up. And when it started to get serious, that he had to just tell her he was gay, and then that was it for his character.
Yeah, he wasn't on there long at all. I don't know. I feel like he was mid-80s.
Candace said, yes, All My Children had a doctor played by Donna Pescow. Oh, God. DC Soap Sanctuary brought up the Zoe thing from All My Children.
I don't remember it.
Zarf. But. So it was... Bianca had been in a relationship with a woman. Mm-hmm. I don't know the story. This is just bits and pieces I know.
I think her name was Ray.
I think they basically put her with a transgendered man just so visually it would look like she was with a man. I like how you dropped your head. And the lesbian community was kind of pissed because prior to this, she was just lesbian. Well, but I guess now you can just see that as sexually fluid.
Yeah, I mean, but that was then. So
this Candace said the city had a transgendered model.
I did not know that.
I didn't. I want to see the whole, because the city was only on for 3 years, so I just want to see the whole thing. And what's her name was on there? Morgan Fairchild. Yeah.
I've always been a huge fan of hers. I don't know what it is. I've always liked her.
DC Soap Sanctuary said they had their first transgender character be the suspect of serial killings around town. It was a mess. That's something that tends to happen. The gay characters.
One Life to Live did that too.
Yeah.
There was a serial killer that turned out to be gay.
Wasn't it Jack Devereaux? I mean, Matt Ashford.
Oh, I don't know. Now we're just kind of rambling about stuff I'm not 100% sure. I don't like to give false information. I know he was on the show.
Candace said the
And
Zarf
says yes, it
story
was.
was a transition from male to female. Okay.
The Music Box Killer. There's so many serial killers in daytime television, it's hard to keep up.
I feel like The Young and the Restless needs to do a serial killer storyline. I've never seen one on that show. Except for Sheila. But she's not really a serial killer. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I would like to direct everybody to Rad Rock Productions YouTube channel to see the video tribute to Billy Douglas. It's very well done. It actually shows interviews with Ryan Phillippe back then when he was in the role, and a more current video where he's reading a letter from a fan from back then, which actually really touched me that he was talking about the show. And
I'd be interested to talk to him to see what. Like,
yeah, so if you're watching this, Ryan Phillippe, come on our show.
Just because, I mean, he was playing at a time when Hollywood didn't know what to do. Respectfully.
And I also would encourage you to view other content on the Rad Rock Productions channel, because they do a lot of storyline tributes and character tributes, and it's very interesting and very well done. So check it out. And I think this Thursday, I got my dates confused. We're going to talk about the pilot of the new Queer as Folk. I thought it was tonight. It's not that.
I'm excited because I have a friend who saw an advanced screening of it, and he said it was really good.
Really? I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
All right. Well, as always, you can check us out on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night, guys. Bye.
Bye.